Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? MomoCon 2023 on a Friday. One more time. How are you guys doing today? That's more like it. That's more like it. Welcome to the 1 to 1 million panel. I apologize for the slight wait, but I'm happy you guys are a very patient crowd. So let's not delay this any further and get started. I would like to introduce our guests in any order they would like to come up.
I think that's. Does it say Mario there?
Close enough.
Yeah.
You guys missed an amazing chance to switch your names up and throw everybody off. But now that you're sitting in front of your name tags, would you like to start by giving us your names? And of course, what it is you do.
I'm sorry. So my name is Karina, and my handle is Kawiwi. I usually do skits with Jose, and yeah.
Hi, my name is Julia Stunts, and I am an Emmy-nominated stuntwoman and a verified content creator.
Hi, my name is Chris. I drink milk, and I'm a unverified content creator. It's whatever.
But your hair is pretty, so.
No, I'm over it. It's fine.
It's me, Brown Bakugo, and yeah, I shave my eyebrows before coming here. So, but yeah, happy to be here.
Okay, so everybody up here is, well, of course, a combination of 6 million plus followers, just about. Everybody, what was it? What made you start doing video content online? What was the driving factor to you guys doing that?
Are we going in order?
Whoever wants to start.
Do you want to go
Let's
first?
go back down.
I'll go. Yeah, okay. No, I think for me, I studied film, and I think that's always something I gravitated towards too. I just always liked to do little skits and like whatever, but it was for a long time. It was for no reason. It was just for fun. I would show my family and stuff like that, and they're like, "Look what I did," and they, yeah, I could think they liked it. And then after that, I just sort of TikTok came along, and around COVID, that's when like I had almost nothing to do, and I think just that space where I'm like, I gotta find something to do. I started posting videos on TikTok, and then one thing led to another, and I just started really finding something there, and it's been so much fun ever since. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Like how I started making videos?
Or how, why?
I still don't know why. Well, it's always just been fun for me. I started editing when I was like 14 years old. Oh my God, we're getting feedback.
I know, so much feedback.
It was always just to make my friends laugh in the beginning. That's always been my main motivation, to make people happy. After high school, I studied film, and I got a degree in directing, and then I didn't really know what to do with my degree, so I went into advertising and marketing, and then similar to Jose, the pandemic hit, and we just didn't really know what to do. So this app came along, TikTok, and I just posted random videos on there without any intention or plan of turning this into anything, and it just kind of happened naturally, and well, now I'm here, I guess, in a York dress.
So I also work in film. I do stunts, and basically during the pandemic, the entire industry shut down, and we were completely out of work, which really sucked. And I didn't really know what to do with my time, and I loved anime and video games and cosplay, but I didn't have a community for myself who liked it as much as I did. So, you're at home being like, oh my God, I watched the best show ever, and have no one to talk to about it. So I decided to start posting on TikTok to kind of create a community for myself and find friends who liked it as much as I did. And had no idea that it would go viral or anything like that. So pretty much a pandemic. I feel like that's a common theme. We're like, we were bored, we had nothing to do.
Similar factor.
Yeah, so with the pandemic, I agree as well, because I know growing up, I really liked watching anime, and I always wanted to do my own little YouTube things or whatever. So what's it called? Yeah, within time, I started doing my own videos. It was just screaming, sniffing into a camera. I don't know. But what's it called? I started transitioning into making skits, obviously with help, thank you. But yeah, that's, you get bored and you want to just put things out there, so like, here you go.
So everybody up here on this panel, they actually incorporate a lot of anime into, well, you incorporate a lot of anime into your personal skits that you put on TikTok. You show everything. What was it that actually made you start doing anime in terms of like the skits that you do? And was it something that you were expecting to get into? Was there anything else you wanted to do before anime became your kind of like your main tag?
The question is for me?
It's for anybody.
Oh.
Look, I promise you, any question is for anybody that wants to chime in.
Okay. Well, when I started making videos online, they had nothing to do with anime. It was just random trends and skits, and but anime has always been a passion of mine. The first one I ever watched was Naruto when I was 9 years old. So I grew up like with just one person. No, I appreciate it. It played a big part in like me growing up. And then just as random as I started making videos on TikTok, I randomly made like an anime related one. Again, without any plan, and it kind of got a lot of attention. I think at the time of me posting that video, I had like 50,000 followers, which is still a lot. It's but not to the point where I can turn this into like a career, where I can leave my full-time job with confidence. And then, that anime-related video did really well. And then, I thought, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know there was a demand out there. And then I did it again. And then in the following, 2 months, I grew from 50,000 to, I think, 1 million. And then, in the months after, from 1 to 10. And then it's just been kind of happened, not accidentally, but without me putting too much thought into it.
I'm not an anime character. I think it was same for me too. I think when I first started making videos, I mean, is it the same with you? Like if you scroll all the way down, you can find your old videos, or did you delete the videos?
No, I didn't. I should probably delete
me
some.
too.
I'm gonna start looking for all of you right now.
The archives. No, there's a couple of mine that I did a couple where I'm just kind of making fun of my disability. I mean, there's a couple where I just fall off the wheelchair. Now I do that in an anime costume, so it kind of still works out. But and then there was some that I try to do with Marvel or DC, just anything pop culture like that. But so those didn't really pan out. I mean, they still were fun to make, but after that I just did I tried Marvel, I did DC, I did whatever I could think of, and then I just stuck with. I did some anime ones, and I saw those were like Chris too. They were well received, and so I started really thinking I guess there's a lot of people watching anime TikToks out there. So that's kind of where I focused on, and then I started playing around with little voices and stuff like that. And even actually Mario was one of the voices I used to do as a kid all the time. But then I just started watching a bunch of animes, and I'm like, I like how this person sounds. Let me see what I can do. And then I just do a couple of them, and then then you get or whatever characters I can pull up out of nowhere. That but that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah, for me, anime was always the main idea, what I wanted to do. But my name's Julia Stunt, so I was like, I'll put all my stunt work online and stuff like that. And before I even could, TikTok was like, oh my God, do you have a fake sword that looks like a real sword, but is from a show? It doesn't exist. Dangerous acts, we have to take your, ban everything. So before I could post my stunts, I was already getting flagged for having a prop ODM gear sword. So I did try to post some of my stunts, but all of them get taken down, even if it's as simple as a backflip. They're dangerous act, no. So I haven't really been posting stunts, and that's why I kind of was like, okay, well, I'm gonna focus only on pop culture.
So, like I said, my earlier videos, they were mostly me of just screaming, maybe ranting, and mostly sniffing the camera. It did well for a little bit, and I was just like, okay, cool. But then, what's it called? Jose, he was like, I need you for can you be Rock Lee for a video? And I was like, yeah, sure. From there on, I got the motivation to do skits involving Naruto, and now expanding to other animes that I also enjoy. So that's the little gateway that I had.
What are some of the skills that you had before you started doing videos on social media? And that I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm getting so tongue-tied. What are some skills that you guys had before you started doing videos on social media that actually helped you get do the videos that you do now? Like, are there any like skills, ideas, or anything that you brought to those videos? And how did you leverage those? Like, what made you start using them?
Well, I've always been editing, so I guess like my editing skills have helped me with my videos. I don't think my editing skills are anything special, but it made it easy for me to just like keep making videos without thinking about it too much. And then because I had like a background in film, I guess like the process of creating a video was very straightforward to me because I've done it for so long. I guess that, but in all honesty, I don't think you need any of this to ever create videos online. I think most people I know just kind of learn on the fly and like teach themselves with tutorials and whatever. You don't need like a crazy camera, you don't need a background in film, you don't need any of that to like actually create content. I think if you are a creative person, those things, you just honestly need your phone and like a dumb idea and then you're ready to go. Like the biggest lesson I ever learned from making videos is not to overthink it, to just do it. And I still overthink a ton. Whenever I have an idea, I kind of like destroy it in my head. I keep telling myself it's not good enough, but in reality, I never know how a video is gonna be perceived by the public. Some of the videos I've put out there that have done the best are ones that I never wanted to post. And some that I've been like, oh my God, this is like the best thing ever. They've not done so well. So it was all a learning process, but in the end, I guess, learned not to overthink it.
I think for me, same too. Like some of the film classes that I took kind of helped out with that, like kind of planning out, like just it's a small thing, but like you could still plan out like a little script for like how you want a video to go. And like there are some that we have a little layout about how a video is gonna go, and then some of it is like improv, and some of it's like a good mix of both. So like when we plan out all these like little skit videos we do, we start off with like an idea, or sometimes it just goes off. We just scrap the plan and we do a whole different video. And then, but yeah, I think like the film classes definitely helped out a lot. I think, at least for me, what I try to do is with the voices, like I always try to make sure I sound like the character in the shot. So like if I didn't think I sounded like him there, I probably won't use it. So I focus more on me, on how I sound. I always find it funny because like I look at some of the comments and like I always see where it's like, oh, like your girlfriend looks so much like the character. You sound like him. Like, I know I'm not gonna look like him, but at least I'll try. I will try to sound like him as much as I can. But yeah, that's kind of what I could do with that. So.
Yeah, with same thing. Working in film it definitely helps, and Lloyd helps me film all of my content and edit it. And we do pre-visuals for filmmaking. So for stunts, basically a director will come to us, we'll read the script, and we'll say like, fight scene ensues, and so we have to come up with what this fight scene is going to be. So we will have all the stunt doubles come, we will film everything with them and edit it and show the director like, hey, is this the fight scene you wanted? And then they'll come back to us and be like, oh, actually I wanted the hero to be losing this entire time and then finally get the final punch or something, and we'll change it. So I always thought content creation was going to be the same way, like it had to be overthought and processed and storyboarded and all this crazy editing. And I've actually learned more from the content creators who just use the app, film everything on TikTok or just use their phones. So now I've almost kind of like reversed myself a little bit, like, oh, I don't have to make a crazy storyboard and all this visual effects to make a good video, because it wasn't a good long-term, you can't do it long-term. Like at some point in time, you're gonna burn out with trying to do that much or not get as much content out. So I think it's totally fine to be using your phones and just using a funny sound clip, and how is it relatable to what you're interested in and what you're trying to make content for.
I agree with that because I think it's kind of cool how we were all like in film in some way, shape, or form, because like I'm also studying film. So like before I started doing like more like skit videos, I was always like overthinking my things, because I was like, oh, like I need my laptop, I need a camera, I need this and that and that and that. But then like I use CapCut to like edit and just like film everything on my phone. I was like, oh, this is like the best tool, and it's like sometimes a little bit more easier too. So also from like those classes, you like learn like, oh, what's this? That's that. Okay, cool. now I'm editing on my phone, which is a little bit more accessible and easier than having my laptop everywhere with me. So
I'm actually extremely happy that. Oh, wait a second. Were you about to say
No,
something?
I was not. No.
Well, I'm actually extremely happy everybody from that question actually talked about like overthinking, starting out by overthinking their process and then actually simplifying it, what actually does lead me into the next question. Would you be willing to tell us like your thought process on how you guys come up with your skits or what goes on in your minds when they're actually coming out?
I just go to the shower. That's where, no, honestly, I think that's where I come up with a lot of them. You know,
I'll
like
be just
I,
there
you
and just
know.
like, God,
no,
look what I
no,
have
no.
this time.
Like I just come out of the shower. I'm like, I got an idea, and then she's like, oh my
like,
god, now
how?
I gotta hear it. And then yeah. But yeah, you're gonna say?
I don't. I wish. I don't have a like process on how to come up with ideas. If I wish I did, because I think that's honestly the hardest part about doing anything creative, is coming up with original and like good ideas. I honestly don't know. I consume a lot of content online. I watch a lot of movies and TV shows, and a lot of times ideas will just like form in my head when I'm hearing a sound or a piece of music. That's how it usually happens, and usually when I'm doing something that's not related to making videos. So it could like going in the shower makes sense, I guess. Doing any like physical activity or just ironically, when you don't focus on it, it comes more easy. But it's tough to trust in that process, because if it's your job, you kind of want to come up with more ideas, and then telling yourself that, oh, okay, by not trying to come up with ideas, you will come up with ideas is kind of like counterintuitive, but that's how it usually happens. And then there's very often times where I really want to film, and then I'm sitting at home and like, just not being able to come up with anything. I do live in a constant state of writer's block, and I know it's like that for a lot of people. So unfortunately, I don't have any advice, but I think by doing it more and not trying to not overthink and just going with the ideas that come to your head, it'll loosen you up to like not criticize yourself too much. It's like kind of this hurdle that you need to get over, because if you start overthinking an idea, you will keep doing that with the other ideas that will come to you. But if you just go ahead and just put out whatever comes to your mind, it'll be so much easier to just be more free-spirited, I guess. It's finding a balance between then the shitty ideas and then the good ideas is always tough. But
Yeah, I've always taken like what's trending, like the sound bites or whatever, and then relating it to whatever I'm filming, like whatever content. Like I know that soundbite that was like, I love you for infinity, and everyone was doing like the thirst traps, or they had the ring light and they put it over them, and they would transition to like a really hot cosplay or shirtless. And I don't do thirst traps. So I was like, how do I relate this to my fans, my following, and what I like to do? So I just kind of, how do you relate it, And so I was like, it'd be funnier is Sasha, who likes to eat a lot of potatoes, and she's opening the fridge. That makes more sense for my content. So I was just taking a really popular trend that was already going viral on the internet and was like, okay, well, I'm going to put it towards what I like and what would be something funny. So I think it's really smart to start with the trends and how you want to relate it to your content, and then past that, I love the skits that everybody at this table does. You have to find something that's not just like what all the common trends are, because you're going to be burnt out. Trends run out pretty often, so you have to make your own content, something original like a skit. So it's really inspiring to see all of your content and come up with ideas as well, like, oh, that was so cool, rip your mustache off, yeah, wear your dress.
Oh my God, when you're drinking milk, it's
Drink
so
lots of
inspiring.
milk.
I super glued this, so please no ripping.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No,
Okay.
But would you like to answer?
No, I mean, I agree with Chris, because like I feel like for me, like usually ideas don't come to me. Like, I mean, if they do, it'll be like a penny of like the idea, and it's like, all right, well, and then it's like, oh. So I do struggle a lot with like making up. Like I'll have like a concept, but I just don't know how to like flesh it out until like days after, or like obviously talking, like bouncing it back like with you, and it's like, oh, we could do this. Yeah, sure. So like I feel like the most like, what's it called? Like ideas that come to me work more when it's like bouncing back and forth, like like, what if you do this? What if that? Da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, oh, now I see like the whole like picture of like this could work out. So
Yeah, I think working with other people is always easier. Like, I mean, when I'm at home, okay, I mean, I do have friends. It's not like I don't have friends.
Sure.
Let's just put it out there. But
You got
my,
family.
my friends that I have at home have nothing to do with social media. It's still the same friends I had from high school, which is nice because I can just hang out with them and it's not related to anything I do. But it's also like I'm not. Whenever I do make videos, it's just literally just me. I film, I edit, I do everything. But then when I came here to LA, for example, in January, I got to meet like Julia and all her friends and Lloyd and everybody, and it was so refreshing to like work with other people who do similar things as you do. And it's almost like you don't even have to speak out the whole idea, you just tell them and then they go off of it. So I realized, oh wow, this is such a luxury to have, to like be able to work with people and like collaborate and stuff. And well, unfortunately, I do live in Germany. It's really far away. So, but whenever I do come out to like events like these, I'm always eager to like at least talk to people who do stuff similar to mine.
Well, Jose, so everybody on stage here obviously knows each other. Can you guys give us a little idea of how it was when you guys first met? Like, how did you go from meeting each other for the first time to going, hey, let's make videos together sometimes?
Yeah, Jose and I matched on Tinder. I'm kidding.
It took so many swipes to find. I used all my super likes. Is that how it works? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Should we just go with how we met?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
okay. I think because we met at Otakon, it was a convention in Washington, and I think me and Karina were in a break room, and there was a lot of people there inside the building, but there was like a backyard balcony out there, and like everyone was inside. Only one person was outside, and it was Chris. So, but like I had seen Chris's video, so I knew how he looked like a little bit, and I nudged Karina, and I'm like, that's Chris, isn't it? And he's like, I don't know. But I'm like, I think that's him. Like, should I go say something? Like, I think we have a panel in like in like an hour, so maybe should I say hi? And then she's like, why are you being so weird? Just go say hi to him. I'm like, okay. So I walked up and I said hi to him, and like he was just looking out in the view, having a little Batman moment, just looking at the city, and then like. You know, at least that's how I took it. Okay. But yeah, he was just looking at the city, and then like I come up next to him, I just lean up on the. It sounds so romantic. It really was like nothing like that. But yeah, I just came up to him and I was like, hey, like Chris, and he's like, oh hey, like Brown Bago, this whole thing, and then we said like, are you excited for the panel? And he was like, yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And we're like, oh cool, man, yeah. And so that's kind of but then we did the panel, and then that's actually, I think that's where we found out we had a lot in common, because like when we started answering a lot of questions together, that was like, and it was my first panel ever, and like for me it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this with Chris, and it's someone that I've personally seen his videos and I'm a big fan, so it was just like very cool to be doing it with someone like you admire, but you also see as like kind of like, oh cool, we're gonna be doing this together. So yeah, and then we started doing all the questions, and it was like, oh cool, he's actually a real dude, like So like, that's how it happened. So
Yeah, well, it was both of our first convention that we were being invited to, and it was my first ever anime convention. So when I was standing out there, I was probably freaking out because I was so nervous. I'm really introverted, and being in front of a lot of people back then was like worst case scenario for me. But I didn't know what you looked like, but I had heard your voice a ton, because back then you were still doing all those My Hero like voiceovers.
Audios, yeah.
And the only, I didn't know your handle, but whenever I saw one of those cartoons people used to make, those My Hero cartoons.
Of them being like strippers or something?
Yes, strippers. And I was like, oh my God, that's actually you. I didn't realize, because people wouldn't tag you, they would just use your voice.
Yeah.
And that's, and then we kind of just clicked, and him and Karina were super nice to me. And then it happened similar with me and Julia, I guess, where I had known her, of course, from social media and everything. I had seen her in a ton of stuff. And I actually think we chatted a little before I even came to LA. We had because I think maybe you commented under one of my videos. I don't know exactly how it happened, but you just told me you you like my stuff, and I told you likewise. And then I finally, when I knew I was gonna come to LA, I messaged her and everybody I wanted to meet when I came, and made sure I had some time to actually spend with them. And then, yeah, as I explained before, it was really great. It was a great experience, kind of eye-opening to me how it is to work with other people. And yeah.
I love how like everyone thinks that content creators are like extroverts and we're like so bubbly and like we're all just as like insanely socially awkward and nervous to talk to each other. Because I know like I've met so many people and I've gone up to Lloyd and been like, oh my God, there's so-and-so over there. I love their stuff. Oh my God, should I go say hi? And he's like, get over there. And I'm like, no, I'm too nervous. And every time I'm like too nervous, and then everybody is the same way, like, oh, I'm a little shy too, but it's so nice to meet you. And so I feel like, I remember I saw you at Anime Expo. I was like almost positive it was you, but I was like, oh no, like I can't go say hi to him. I'm too nervous. And then you messaged me being like, oh my God, that was you. And so we like, we're like, we should hang out sometime.
I'm so used to you guys looking so tiny on a phone. So then when I see everyone, I'm just like, oh, that's them. Oh my gosh. And I feel like I just grin and I smile and I don't know what's going on half the time.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, obviously we all know each other through social media and watch each other's content. And so with Chris, I had seen his stuff and we became mutuals, and he said he wanted to go to conventions, and I was like, come to America so that you can come to conventions and we can hang out. So I kind of was like, peer pressuring him, like, come to America because I can't go to Germany. And so finally he messaged me saying a convention, it was Anime Impulse that he was going to. It was like, oh, I'm guessing at Anime Impulse. And I was like, hello, Anime Impulse. I am inquiring to guest at your convention so that I may hang out with my friend. And they're like, here you go. So we finally got to make content together, and it was just very inspiring to be around so many people with so many ideas. And my number one thing was whatever anybody said, I was like, yeah, let's shoot it, let's film it, and make content, and not, like you said, overthinking it at all. Just, okay, let's do it. Get it out there.
Yeah, so like, what's it called? Because I went with Jose to Otakon, and then I remember him telling me like, oh yeah, like King Chris is gonna be there, and I was just like, oh, let me pull him up, and like I see like his followers and everything, and I was like, oh, I'm intimidated. Like I was nervous.
It's King Chris.
No, I know. But like meeting him and everything, I was like, oh, like he's really nice, and like there's some like comfort knowing that like, oh yeah, he's also very shy because I'm also very shy too. So like there was some like comfort in like that where it's like, okay, cool. So from there on, like the friendship grew, and then I met Julia back in January at Anime Impulse. It was like a very quick little like hi, hello, and I was just like, hey man, like I've seen your things, that's really cool. So it is really crazy to like, what's it called? To like see like you guys are just like right here and everything. So it's really nice. And then you are
How do I know you?
I found you on the street and I was like, hey, here's a phone. Are you bored?
Start making videos. Thank you.
No, I met Jose back in 2018, 19.
Oh yeah.
I forget, but it was at a class. We had a class together in college, and our first meeting was that I was acting something out, and I was put on a box so I could be taller than him, and I ended up yelling at him for a scene. So, you know, that's that.
Oh yeah, because it's a silly little story, but they had me do a scene with her. I wasn't even in the class. I was a teacher's assistant, but they used me because I'm short, and like I needed to play her son in the scene. So like they had me play her son, and like I'm just looking at her, and then you know, she's doing the scene, and I'm just like, you're pretty.
That's your Riz?
Yeah.
Backstory.
Riz.
That's my Riz. That unspoken thing or whatever.
Was it while making videos, or basically this journey you guys have gone on, what has been the best part to you up to this point so far?
The best part about making videos so far?
Or generally the best part of this, what has been the best part of you guys going from 0 followers to the number you have now? This entire journey you guys have been going on.
Oh my God. I don't know. Like one best part, I think just realizing that that I'm able to have an impact on people with the stuff I do. I don't ever want to look too much at numbers, so like the views, the followers, the likes my stuff generates, because it kind of drives me a little crazy. But whenever I go to events like these and I actually get to see people, or when people come up to me in public, it's always it always feels very fulfilling to me when I see how happy people are to just like talk to me, or when they tell me how much whatever I do, twerking in the garden means to them. It's always very like sus, but you know, I'm happy they do like it, and yeah. So I think that in general is always the best and most fulfilling part to me.
I think it's this as well, being able to be up here with people that like, cause it's like I said, like I'm a fan of all of this. So being able to be up here with people that are my friends and like people that I also admire for the same thing. Like I want to go to some panels and see some voice actors that I like also admire too. So it's just being able to be here, and like Chris said, it feels very fulfilling to like kind of see like, oh, this is the result of like the videos you've been doing or like putting out, and you know, just happy to see that. Like whenever someone says like, hey, I like that video, it made me smile, I'm like, oh, that's all I need, you know. So that's the best feeling.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the community that I've been able to now have, and that was why I made content in the first place. Like now, instead of being strangers with everybody in this room, we have so much in common, and it's been really nice to go to conventions and see people, you know, they come up to me and be like, how about that new episode of My Hero or Attack on Titan? And now we have so much in common, when before we maybe wouldn't have even talked to each other because we thought we don't have anything in common. So it's definitely been that, and all the friendships I've made. Like I didn't have friends like I do now, like if it's content creators or other people who love anime as much as I do. So that's been really amazing.
It's really nice, like you said, like the community. It's very nice to see like that whole like there's a connection, even if you like don't know like the entirety, like, you know, of who I am, like person wise, where it's like favorite colors what. But it is really nice to be like, oh, like you do content on this. Did you watch a new episode? Did you do this? And like just the fact of like if you like to watch like, you know, our dummy stuff and it makes you laugh, I think that's very cool to be like, I'm happy it made you laugh, and you know, rewarding.
Okay. Where do you guys see yourselves going with this in the next few years? Like, what's the next steps to making videos? Or where would you like it to go? I'm sorry.
If I could get in the Mario movie, that would be very.
You're trying hard, aren't you?
I'm really trying. Like I switched up all my content. It's like all Mario now. I don't even care if it messes up my view. Like, I'm just gonna force it. Like I'll do anything really. So yeah.
They call it manifesting.
Yeah, manifesting. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Manifesting.
If you don't see me on the For You, that's why. I'm full on Mario stuff now.
Yeah, you've really leaned into it. Like earlier, I was like, hey, where are you guys? And you're like, we're on our way. And you literally sent me like a gif of Mario and Luigi in the car, like, we're on our way.
It's the mustache. It just sort of
Feeding
plays
in.
into it. I think I might take it off and a real one's going to be under it. Like, I don't know.
Is that not your real one? Okay.
No, I can't.
I don't know where I'm going. No, like I don't. I've never really had a plan. As I explained earlier, when I started, it was just, you know, because I enjoy it, and I still really do enjoy it. I think one thing I can say is I've always been really aware of, because social media and like influencers or content creators have been around so much, and it's like a job by now. I've seen a lot of people rise and fall over the past like 10, 13 years. And I was always really aware of, I didn't want to become like a thing, if that makes sense. So a lot of people, like they gain popularity by doing like a specific trend or like just a thing, whatever that thing is. And then they're not able to transition from that one thing to more. And then once that trend or whatever eventually dies out, which all trends do, they're not really able to continue, and then it kind of stops. So when I started making videos, like one of the first things that kind of really did well for me was like doing this like face, you know, the swag jutsu
Do the
thing.
face.
Do the face.
Guys.
Gotta turn around a bit.
I mean, tomorrow we're going to make you dance, so.
Do you want me to sing the song
Stop.
that plays like that?
Yeah.
So that did really well for me. And I remember when I was making that video, I didn't even want to post it. It's something I explained earlier. That was that video. I filmed it. I thought it was so dumb, and I didn't want to press upload because in my head I was like, this is not even funny dumb. This is just dumb. But then I did because, I had this rule back then that I was gonna post 3 videos a day. And that was my 3rd video, and I was like, okay, whatever. Tomorrow I'm gonna make up for the shitty video I just made. But then overnight, I think the video got like 10 million views, and then over the next days, 20, 30, 50, and it turned into like this trend where people would do the same thing with the same sound. And while all that was happening, it was great because I found it's like the struck gold. Like you found something that works. But while I was in the middle of like making more of these videos, I almost had this realization of, shit, like it's already happening. Like I'm becoming like this one thing, and I'm not gonna be able to transition from that one thing. So I quickly, not quickly, like after 4 months of doing that phase, I started experimenting with other videos, and then really trying to find something else that works. So I'm constantly looking for stuff to like expand upon. I don't ever want to become complacent on like just one kind of video. So I'm looking a lot into, for example, live streaming that's still related to what I do, just like expanded. I'm looking at, maybe having more of an exchange with my community. So I started these like Q&A videos I do, like I try to do every Friday, where I ask
Like
people.
this Friday.
Excuse me?
I said like this Friday.
Like this Friday, well, not this Friday, unfortunately, because I'm here right now. But like for next Friday, for example, I'm gonna do one where people give me like video suggestions, and then I just do them. And I feel like it makes people, it includes people more. Or what I recently did is this, like, because I kept seeing edits of me, like people making edits of me on TikTok. So I thought it would be funny, all right, what if I like encourage them to like actually do like more, like almost like a contest. So I did that like a week ago, and like, oh my God, there's so many funny edits now of me on TikTok. It's really cool.
I submitted like 30.
His
They're
are
all
always
Jose.
So I think in that way I'm trying to grow, just trying to expand more what I currently do. Always having in mind that I don't want to become complacent with one thing, because it can also get very frustrating, I think, for me at least, as somebody who likes to be creative and try out new things, to just do the same thing. It's like you're hammering your head against like a wall, and it's always just the same stuff. So yeah, I think that's what I'm most aware of.
I think content creation, it has been around for a while, but it's been evolving rapidly. So I think there's so much opportunity for all of us in the future to go beyond just creating content. Like, I remember I saw so many My Hero cosplayers do sound bites to your sounds, to your videos, well before I actually knew who you were. And I feel like
those people.
I feel like it's definitely an opportunity for you in the future to be a voice actor. Like, you can make so many different voices, and I feel like that's like
I'll only take the Mario movie. If any anime, if it's not that, I'm turning it down. I know that's not gonna help me. Yeah.
But same, like, I feel like there could be a future where we have King Chris in a your dress as the next Fortnite skin. I want that. I want that. Get me to play Fortnite. Give me that.
Twerking,
Yes.
Emoting,
yeah.
And I would love to, with my background in stunts, I would love to do mocap for video games or my likeness. And I think that's an opportunity not just for myself, but for all of us. So I think with content creation growing so crazy, I think that's an opportunity in future for all of us involved. And I want that. I want to see you in a Mario movie, and so hopefully we get that in the future.
Maybe live action. Maybe not. No.
But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, like just putting your content out there, because like that people could see like who you are. So like there is something nice about that. Future-wise, I've always strived to like wanted to be like a actor, but with doing like TikTok and like now I've been like doing like little like YouTube things as well. It's been very like, oh, this is nice. Like it's really fun. So I am excited for like what the future will like drive that into. I really don't know what happen or what, like, wherever it takes me, I'll be happy. So.
Perfect. All right, we're entering into the final few minutes of our panel, so we're going to open up the floor for Q&A. If you have any questions you would like to ask, please come over to the mic in the middle, over by my precious runner, and she will allow you to ask your questions.
Any questions?
Well,
No? You have to come up to...
you got to come up to the mic.
Oh, this one's.
We can hear you.
Excuse me. Can we get the Q&A mic on, please?
Oh, there it goes.
We're all good?
Hello, hello. Big fans, big fan, big fan. My question is for Julia. I was just wondering, how did you get your start into the film industry? Were you always in the film side, or have you done any like live performances beforehand? As myself, I used to be a stunt performer over at Universal, and yeah, I was just curious because like a lot of my stunt friends, they moved up to Atlanta to work here, so now I'm here trying to work in the industry here. So I was just curious. That and what kind of special skills did you have for stunts? Did you have any weapon skills, acrobatics, or stuff like that?
Well, starting from a live show is definitely one of the best ways because I know a lot of live show people who do stunts in TV and film now, so that's definitely a great avenue to be in. For myself, my personal journey, I started in gymnastics and cheerleading, and then my first performance job, I found out the Power Rangers were having an audition. They had a live performance team, and I decided to audition, and it was terrible. It was so bad, but for some reason, they're like, we'll work on it. She can figure it out. So I booked the job, and I did Good Morning America, Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. I would actually do some of their photo shoots for their toys, or like, Power Rangers up next on Nickelodeon would be us. So I joined that team. I would do Make-A-Wish and stuff like that. And all the other Power Rangers were stunt performers because it was like a very well-paying job at the time. And, when they didn't have a stunt job, they would do this job with us. So all of them were kind of like, you're a girl, you already do gymnastics and cheerleading, like you should just get into stunts. And I knew I wanted to perform, but didn't know in what capacity. So that was kind of the light bulb in my head, like, oh, I can try this thing out. So I started training like crazy. Like I was in a dojo 24/7. I was going to open mat and open gyms. I was learning how to do tricking, which like if you're a gymnast, that was terrifying.
It's like the opposite of gymnastics.
Yes, yeah. Like gymnastics is on like the X and Y axis, and then tricking's this like Z axis you have to flip off of. And I was like, this is terrible. But yeah, I was just training like crazy, and then I finally got my SAG card, which is the Screen Actors Guild. It's a union you have to join to be in front of camera. It's the same as the actors, stunt performers. So I joined that, and then basically just was hustling like crazy to get stunt work, and I booked Jessica Jones was my first job I ever booked. I was young Jessica Jones. I got to stunt double her for a few scenes, and basically after that I was like, okay, well this is where I want to be, and just kept pushing like crazy. So keep training, and I love that you're doing live shows because those people are my favorite to work with.
Oh yeah, I don't do them anymore though. I had surgery on my back, so like I cut out all.
Yeah, I mean
stuff.
that's the hard part of doing stunts is you get a lot of injuries, so I get it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I had a whole time to think about this, but it probably left my mind already. But what was the biggest struggle when it came to creating content, and how did you overcome it?
Anyone in particular, or all of us?
Yeah, all if you can, if it's okay.
I think the biggest struggle is definitely the writer's block. I think a lot of us have talked about, and just being like, what kind of content should I make? And for me, it's always the algorithm, is pushes your content or it doesn't, and you take that personally, and you can't. You very much have to view the algorithm and how your videos are doing with a grain of salt. Like you just have to keep posting if it pushes your content or not. Has been my struggle.
Yeah, it's the same here. Like I keep trying to make Mario videos, and it just won't let me. And I tell Karina too. I'm like, what's going on? Is it the mustache? Because I can make it bigger.
Let him cook.
It's like, but it's like Julia said. Yeah, like you can't take it personal, and it's easier said than done. But sometimes you really put a lot of effort into like a video, or you're trying, and it's sometimes like you're like, oh, this video did good, so I'm gonna try doing something similar, and then the next one just won't do good. So it's like the algorithm, you never know what it will do. So, but I think like the best thing you could do is just try to be consistent. As long as you don't let it get to you to where like, oh, I'm gonna take 2 weeks off. Don't get into that mindset. Just keep going, And like Chris also said, don't look at the numbers because, they can start to affect you and start messing with your head and all that. So, yeah.
Overthinking is also a very big thing. At least, what's it called? Because you'll be like, oh yeah, I shot this, I edited it. I have to post it. I don't know now. So I don't know, something where it's just post it, turn your phone away, and be like, someone out there is gonna like it. So if you liked it, someone out there's gonna like it. That's what I try to ingrain.
All right, thank you.
Hi, this is my first time seeing a bunch of like celebrities to meet, so I was wondering.
I'm not a celeb. I'm just Chris. I'm just Chris.
No, you're right now.
Okay.
I was wondering what it's like to be a celebrity.
Oh my God.
To like
Oh, let me
everybody.
tell you. Kid, I don't know. Like,
It's a lot of people on the internet just commenting cringe on all your videos.
still gets to me.
I don't know. Well, it's, I don't know. It's always, I never expect, when I'm in public, for example, I never expect people to recognize me. And then whenever they do, and they do come up to me and like, you know, they want a picture or just talk to me, I'm always surprised, but it's almost exclusively been positive. And overall, I just enjoy seeing people happy. If I can have a positive effect on people, then that's everything I could ever wish for. But also, I don't ever want this to get to my head. So I'm not in public a ton. I like to spend time with my family or my friends, and they have nothing to do with my social media. So I do try to find a balance between those things. But yeah, I mean, the positive effect I hope I can have on people is probably what I'm focused on the most.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love your skirt.
My mom is trying to do TikTok, YouTube, become social influencer. What would be your advice from like starting from zero? No viewers.
Probably just, short form content is probably the best starting point. Even for YouTube, utilizing YouTube Shorts is probably the way to go, because what YouTube is trying to do is compete with TikTok. So even if you don't have any following on TikTok or YouTube, by using Shorts or like TikTok, your content will be pushed out. TikTok doesn't care how many followers you have, because every video gets rated individually, independent of like if you have like 10 or like 1 million followers. Every video gets pushed out to like 10 people, depending on how they react to it, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000. So that's probably the best starting point. And then going with what actually interests her. I don't know what your mom is into. Not sexually, like, not like, just like what she, okay, like, guys, let's not get crazy. Like, what she likes to do. So, like, following
Everything.
That, okay. Well, if she likes everything, then probably just pick one thing that she maybe sees currently on TikTok or social media. Just go with that. See how it feels for her. See how it works. This also sounds sexual. Like, see how it like.
You're digging a
see how
grave.
it does, and then eventually, like, don't get discouraged if it doesn't do well immediately. Eventually, she will post something that will do well, and then
Go
follow
viral,
that.
yeah.
Follow that path, and then do more of that, and then eventually you will find like your own thing, your own niche, and then sticking to a niche, I think, is important. Like, no matter what you do, finding your audience and sticking with that audience is going to help you grow more.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, you guys, we're at the last 5 minutes, so we have time for maybe 2 more questions.
We can push through them.
Unless we want to do
We
lightning
can do it. We
rounds.
can do it.
Quick questions, quick answers.
So, again, about the numbers, you said don't pay attention to it. How do you go about that? Like, let's say 1 minute you're doing well, you're making relatable content, you're blowing, getting the woo-de-woo, then the next minute the algorithm changes, you're still making relatable content, but it's not hitting your audience, and then everything you worked for is starting to go down. How should you go forward with that?
I would say if you're hitting a rough spot, like to me, if my videos aren't doing well, then I'm like, I gotta change it up. I gotta switch it up, because obviously people are either like seeing my face or like it's just not getting pushed. Then I have to do something completely different, like try something else out. So I take that more as an opportunity to grow, to do something different or try something out. Maybe you know, if you're only making Naruto content, maybe it's time to go into a video game or try something else out.
A video game?
A video game, yeah. Woohoo! So I would give it the opportunity to switch it up, or maybe try different hashtags, and not dumb ones. Don't do hashtags that are like FYP, XYZ, and stuff like that. Like ones that are actually relatable to your content. Is that what you do? Chris, we need to talk.
I have the most
Okay,
generic.
do hashtag FYP XYZ, I guess, because it works. But I just take that as an opportunity to like switch it up, do something completely different, and usually that starts to gain some traction again. But like I said, like comment back to people and just try to make other content and just keep going and keep being consistent and don't let it, take you down. Because we've all experienced that where we're like, I have no views right now. What is happening? I'm hashtagging everything. I'm doing all the things that everybody's told me to do. Okay, do the complete opposite. Just go crazy.
I think like also something like Chris said too is like how he keeps like he hangs out with some of his friends or family that ain't like involved with the social media side of it. Like that helps too, because like when you're so focused on that and like you said, like there's like you've been doing the things you think are like the right thing, you've been doing it, and then TikTok just doesn't receive it the way you would want it to. So like for me, like sometimes I'll have like a bummed out day where I'm like, oh, I really put my all in this video and it just doesn't do well. But then like I get out of it. I'm like, oh, I get out of TikTok. Like I'll hang out with Karina and she helps me a lot too with it. She's like, hey, don't worry about it. Like it's fine, the next one or whatever. But it's also like Julia said too, you have to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, is it my videos that aren't doing well, or is it like the algorithm changing it up? And if it is, then you could take that step and be like, okay, now I got to change it up. Because you can realize that it's not you, it's just the way it works. So you kind of have to take yourself out of it, Because like I was doing like a lot of like these My Hero skits in like a car and everything. And that was all I used to do for a while. I would just be inside a car and just do a bunch of voice work and yada, yada, yada. And then I hit that point where I was like, I'm doing so many of these videos, I'm trying all these things, and none of it is working. And, I was a little bummed out, and I, talked with Karina, all this and that, and then we're like, and then also Chris had told me, he's like, you should try to change it up, like, he saw these new videos that I was doing where we're outside, and I'm dressed up as Guy Sensei, and, like, I put on, like, eyeliner on my eyebrows, and, like, I get Karina involved, and she's Lee, and suddenly we're doing this now, so... And now then that's when this new stuff started coming around. So yeah, but at first I didn't want to do that. It was just like taking that step back and realizing, okay, now I got to try something new, and that's okay. It's not your fault. Nothing you're doing, unless you're getting like violations on like you're doing some sketchy stuff. Then it might be your fault. But other than that, yeah.
I co-sign.
All right, you guys. I'm sorry to everybody else that's in line, but that is the time for the 1 to 1 million panel. Thank you guys for coming, and you have a good rest of the con. Thank you very much for being on the panel.
I'll answer your question outside if you want.
Yeah, thank you so much for everybody for coming, supporting us. It means a lot. It's the reason we come to these things, so we really appreciate it. I think we're all going to be here tomorrow too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you want to take any pictures, like with me or, I don't know, with the others, then I'm going to be outside and I'll get to everybody. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yeah.